Hey, how's it going? A little disclaimer before we start. We have had some minor technical issues in every episode that we've done so far, so, bear with us. We're still new and we are making exactly negative dollars off of this so far.
Yeah. Negative a lot on my end.
Negative quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm out like, if time is money, a bunch of money, and you're out actual money from buying like mics and
And
editing
editing,
software and all sorts of
editing.
stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we're trying to really get it boiled down, and uh, our studio will be moving here shortly. So then we should have a more permanent setup as well.
And we don't know how that's gonna be.
We have no idea.
And second thing is the camera. Hopefully, in the next few months, will be a tremendous upgrade. So yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about the quality.
This is a leftover from Chandler's OnlyFans days, and we're making do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
All
with
right.
that, let's get into the episode.
Enjoy. All right. What is up, everybody?
How's it going? Welcome to Down the Badger Hole. I'm Drew,
And I'm Chandler.
and super professional. And
Whoa, what was that?
whoa, it's magic. Little pixie sounds up in here. What, you were gonna say something?
I actually don't know what that was. It wasn't my phone. So I have
What?
no,
For real?
yeah, for
I
real.
thought that was your phone.
No.
Oh, that's weird as fuck, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So how was your week, Chandler?
It was good. It was good. Busy. My bosses took us out to dinner
Oh yeah, because it was like your last
week.
week at work.
So now I'm just fully back to working for myself, which is nice.
Pretty dope.
Which
But now
is
you don't
nice.
have me with you.
Oh, darn. I already spent enough
Never
time
work
with you.
with family.
It's
I'm
fine.
kidding. I loved it. But also, like, I don't know.
We would spend if you were working still and we were doing the podcast and like
We'd get sick of each other.
Yeah.
Big time.
too much.
Yeah, 100%. You gonna ask me how my week was?
How was your week,
Oh,
Drew?
it was really fucked up, actually.
Oh yeah.
I
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I didn't, and I won't for a very long time. Yeah, so I had some unexpected and uninvited. They were pre-uninvited house guests. My biological father and grandfather showed up to my door.
Whom a month and a half ago asked if they could come
And
and
I
were
said-
told no.
I said no.
I do have guns.
I didn't specify.
I
that.
would have.
Yeah, well, Chandler has a different biological father than I do.
This is true.
But so yeah, I was shooketh as fuck, actually, because I was not expecting any of that, and of course I was taking care of my kid, and then all of a sudden there are these people that I haven't seen in like 14 years just at my house after being told don't come to my house. Just to make it more insane, they live in Texas, I live in Wyoming.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just drove across town and were like, hey, we're just here to say what's up. No, whoa.
And again, let's not forget they were told not to come.
They were specifically told don't show up at my house. So like, yeah, that became a whole thing. And then I went to
Rightfully so.
dinner. My lady Autumn and I went to dinner with these people, and I told them I'm not gonna have anything to do with you because this is an insane thing to do. So you will never be allowed around my child, period. So
Which, I mean, that was already the case.
it was already the case, but it's
But
like
now it's
you
like
have solidified it
extra, like,
forever. If you
yeah.
show up at my house, I'm calling the cops.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy.
Like, genuine psychotic people would
Yeah.
do that.
So
Yeah.
that was pretty much like the crux of my week. I mean, other stuff happened, but like I almost got run over today while I was walking with the bub, but that wasn't even like on the radar compared to everything else.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just worked and slept and ate again.
Ah,
I played video games for the first time in 2 weeks yesterday.
I literally did not do that to you. Okay, so
This bitch, hold on.
we play Daisy.
Hold on. This motherfucker,
I'm
right?
very
Shut the
experienced.
fuck
Chandler is not.
Shut the fuck up. So, me, him, and his buddy Alex are playing Daisy. And we were playing for like an hour.
And if you're not familiar, Daisy is like a super immersive
survival game.
game with zombies.
Yeah, yeah.
But the biggest thing you got to watch out for is other people, which you learned the hard way.
So, before I get into it, so when you die, you
lose all your shit and you're transported way the fuck away.
So, like, what's a map that almost everyone knows?
Like the GTA 5 map is like a quarter the size
not
of this
even.
map.
Not even. I don't think.
I think that's actually pretty close to the size.
It is huge.
It's
it
massive.
literally takes 3.5 hours to walk from one corner to one corner. And that's if you can just straight shot with food, water, everything.
It takes longer than that to walk from tip to tip.
Yeah. No, it's 3.5 hours without, like, if you have food and water, 3.5 hours.
No, it's
trust me, I Googled it. I did the math.
I've done it, but all right.
And I literally did it, and I made it back in 4 hours.
You made it back?
Yeah.
Whoa. Don't say what that base is. I don't want anybody to like stream snipe us.
No, I am. So
you can't.
It's about to get erased. Either way.
No, it's not.
Shut up. So you spawn on the coast of this island, right? And that's the. Okay, dude. Shut up.
I literally didn't say anything that time. I didn't even say words.
So you spawned on the coast, and so the very tip of the coast, like where you're in the ocean, and they are on the opposite side, like literally the opposite corner of the map.
So he spawned on the southeastern side.
They don't care.
And we're close to the northwestern side.
They don't care.
We're
also
complete opposite directions.
Also, so we were playing for like an hour or something yesterday, and I was like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to go make myself some fucking food. So I went and made myself some mini corn dogs and came back and sat down and was eating my corn dogs. And then I was like, hey guys, I'm back.
He had been tied up because we were going through his inventory.
And I noticed that I don't have control of my game.
No, you just couldn't access your inventory and like
as quick and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have control of my game.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what the fuck's happening? And then they were both just laughing and giggling. And I was like, hey, can we shut the fuck up? And can you guys stop so I can have control of my game, please? And it was not yet as my inventory's moving. But I can't see my inventory, right? So I was like, all right, fine, fuck you, whatever. And I backed out.
He logged out of the game, which instantly killed him.
And Alex goes, you just died.
You're dead.
And I was like, what now? What?
I was also like, what now?
And so I was like, that's not true.
See them.
That's not true. That's not true. Right? All right. I load back in. What the fuck do I see? The ocean. You know what our base is not near?
The ocean.
The ocean.
Big time.
So I was fucking furious. I spent 45 minutes after that.
Dying.
Just dying, trying to get back, right? And then I was like, whatever, I'm fucking done with this shitty ass fucking game. Fuck it. And Drew was like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, shut up, bitch.
I legitimately didn't know that you would die if you logged out while restrained. Didn't know that was a feature.
Yeah.
Makes sense, but didn't know.
Moral of the stories is
I was also I was attempting to tell you what was going on.
Also, I've only played this game like 4 or 5 times and don't even fucking know. So whenever I ask them to please stop, it's not yet. And then I log out and Drew, it makes you wait like 15 seconds. So I'd already logged out at this point. And Drew was like, you were just tied. And I was like, well, that does me so good now. So I've only played the game like 3 or 4 times, right?
If you look at like the bottom left of your screen, while stuff's going on,
yep, 3 or 4 times.
It'll tell you like what's happening. It'll tell you what's going on, and it said hands restrained. I know, I understand, and I do feel terrible, but also you made it back, so no foul.
No foul, my ass. I played from fucking noon, and I didn't make it back until 4:45.
I'm surprised you made it back though. Good on you.
Yeah,
that's for being only like seriously like your 5th time playing the game. That's incredible.
But yeah, so that was last night.
So can we get into like this episode, or
Yeah,
'cause
now
I
that my
really
blood's boiling.
don't think that people give a shit about any of that. Whoa. All right. So the Dyatlov Pass Incident. That's what we're covering today. What do you know about it?
Nothing. I know that it's a group of guys from Russia.
They weren't all guys, but
Oh.
yeah. Okay, great. Perfect. So then we shall get into it. Do. Okay.
You guys care, and I know. So thank you.
So in January of 1959, 10 experienced hikers began their trek to procure grade 3 hiking certifications. This was the highest certification given in the Soviet Union at the time. You were known as a master of sports if you were given, like, you got like a title and shit, like you unlocked it in a video game, which is kind of cool. The majority of the hiking party were students at the Ural Polytechnical Institute, which was the largest polytechnical institute in Russia at the time. And the school's motto was brilliance, creation, and work. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Brilliance, creation, and work. Because it's like the most Soviet shit I've ever heard in my life.
Okay.
Yeah. So straight up from Wikipedia regarding the intro to this. The grade 3 certification required candidates to traverse 300 kilometers, which is 190 miles. The route was designed by Dyatlov's group to reach the far northern region of the Sverdlovsk Oblast, which is a mountain range, and the upper streams of the Lozva River. The Sverdlovsk, I don't, Russian, man. City route commission had approved. The people in know approved their route beforehand. And that was a division of the committee of blah, 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 blah. They confirmed the group of 10 people on January 8th, 1959. The goal of the expedition was to reach Otorten, which was a specific mountain that was 10 kilometers north of the site where the incident occurred. 10 kilometers is 6.2 miles. This route, estimated as a Category 3, was undertaken in February, the most difficult time to traverse. So now,
Snow,
lots of snow, lots
wind,
of drifts, crazy
yeah.
winds. They had temperatures that were, I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was like -10, -15 Fahrenheit before wind chill.
So, like -40, 50.
No, that's Fahrenheit. I just said
Okay.
-10 to -15 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
It's about the same in Celsius. It's like -11 to -18 or some shit.
Yeah.
I didn't write that down, but yeah. All right, we'll start with Igor Dyatlov. He was 23 at the time of the incident, and he was the leader of the expedition, hence why it's called the Dyatlov Incident. There's a story where in a previous hike, all of the hikers heard a rumbling, and they were like, what's going on? And they realized that there was a stampede of wild horses heading straight for them. So Dyatlov, cool as a cucumber, was like, everyone stand together in a big circle. And that's exactly what everyone did. And the horses went around them like water around a rock. So this dude was like calm under pressure. He was very calculating, still knew how to have a good time, but he was like,
he knew what he was doing.
He was hearty Soviet stack. That's stock, not stack. And he was going to school to be an engineer.
Okay.
Like most of them. This dude was so out there, like so smart, that he built shortwave radios for fun. And this is back when a shortwave radio weighed like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. He used to take them on hikes with him.
Oh, cool.
He didn't do it for this one. He was like, it's too difficult to trek. We're not bringing a radio. Then we've got Yuri Doroshenko, who was 21 at the time. He's described as impulsive and brave. He apparently once chased a bear away from camp with just a geologist hammer, which I'm not sure what a geologist hammer is. I imagine it's like a small pickaxe, like a chipping hammer, probably.
Yeah. For geology.
For rock stuff. But yeah, like that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got Ludmila Dubinina, who was 20. She, so there were two women on the expedition, and this is one of them. She had been shot in the leg on a previous expedition, and she was apparently, as they were carrying out, she was making jokes to everyone.
Nice.
She's like, "It's okay, guys. Everyone get a shot. This is Russia in the 50s." So like, I'm trying to give an idea of who these people were because
They're all crazy people.
I mean they're
Russians.
your quintessential hardy, like super smart Russians that just they've got it on lock. They understand what they're doing. They don't take unnecessary risks that they, yeah. So now you've got Georgy Yuri Krivonashenko, who was 23. He was regarded as a prankster. And he brought a mandolin with him. Do you know what a mandolin is?
Yes.
Not the thing that you shred fruit with.
Oh, then no.
It's like a guitar. It's a stringed instrument.
Okay.
And he was a student of construction and hydraulics.
Okay.
So again, another very smart individual. And I say prankster. Everyone in this group had been on hikes together. They weren't like, there wasn't, not everybody, but we'll get into that here in a second. But like they were tight knit, and they all knew when to goof off and have a good time. Because again, most of them were young in their 20s, but they also knew like when to buckle down and be serious about shit.
Okay.
Do you have another question?
No, not yet.
All right. So now you've got Alexander Kolevatov, who was 24 at the time. He was studying nuclear physics. Apparently he was like a big dude. He's described as physically imposing. And a funny little story that I found about him was that everyone else had agreed to give up smoking completely for the trip. They're like, this is going to be hard. We need everything at our disposal. And he was like, yes, I give up smoking. Ha, just kidding. Apparently he had an antique tobacco pipe that he just loved to smoke tobacco out of. And for the initial legs of their journey, everybody was giving him shit. And he's like, I don't care what you say. I need my smoky smoke. So now we move on to the other female. Zenaida Kolmogorova, who was 22. Her friends called her Zena. And she was the one that, based on diaries that were found, was like given the job to really record everything that happened.
Okay.
So one of the stipulations of the certification was that there were a bunch, in addition to just the distance, like 60 kilometers of it had to be covered completely on foot. A portion of it had to be done up a certain incline. But in order to get your certification, you had to keep track of everything, and you had to prove like this is how we set up the tent. We did this correctly. You had to prove that you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
So she was the one that was given that specific task for this.
Okay.
Her diary was very, very fleshed out and had recorded everything. She was also regarded as like the hot one.
Okay.
Of the two females, I guess. And she was also a radio engineering student. Now you've got Rustam Vladimirovich Slobodin, who was 23, and he was the archetypal rich kid. But apparently he wasn't like pretentious at all.
Okay.
His parents were both like very well off.
Engineers, I would assume.
They were professors.
Okay.
And so he was born into money, but like he had actually already graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. And if you pull up the first picture that I sent you, then we'll all look at this together real quick.
There we go. That's that.
That's that. There we go.
There we go.
So for those of you that are just listening, it's a man with a jacket that is completely in tatters. And so this was Rustam, and we're not sure what happened in this photo. Maybe he fell asleep too close to the fire, but he's posing with his his outermost jacket is like tattered. But again, for a rich kid,
That doesn't.
like he's got a look on his face like he's proud of himself for having done that and not because he destroyed shit. We have Nikolai Vladimirovich Thibault Brignoz, which is a French last name.
Okay.
He was his grandfather was a French immigrant. He was 25 at the time. He graduated with a degree in industrial civil construction, and apparently he was like he was the jokester. He would find humor in any situation that was happening, and apparently like he brought a lot of brevity to the group.
Okay.
So now we have Simeon Alexander Alexeyevich Zolotarov, who was 37,
Quite a
bit older than the rest of them, and he was the last addition to the group. He had been cleared to get his grade 3 certification with another group on a different route, but they had to leave without him. So he actually asked Igor Dyatlov, he's like, can I come with you guys? And Igor was like, yeah, dude, that's fine, because we were cleared for another person than we have with us anyway, so it's all good. Interesting note about Simeon, he was a World War II veteran, specifically from the Russian Engineer Corps. These guys had about a 20 to 30% survival rate.
Damn.
They were assigned like iron breastplates because they were just getting killed, because they were like minesweepers.
Yeah.
You'd show up and like your job was to assess the battlefield and start making improvements for troops, dugouts, whatever, that kind of shit. Foxholes. The group called him Sasha, which is a Russian like nickname for Alexander, which it's kind of odd. Like that he's known by a bunch of different names and nobody's really sure what name he gave the group and all of this stuff. But apparently in the diaries of the original group members, they loved him.
Okay.
They were like, we don't know this guy, we're a little trepidatious, but then once like they started traveling together, they were like, oh, he's fucking great. Little side note though that you're probably gonna really like, he was slung. Fucking tats all over, which was not normal for the time because they were all like veteran tats apparently. Which I think is really fucking cool.
That is dope. Well, and can I show this picture?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not done.
Okay.
Finally, the last one, we have Yuri Yudin.
So there's 2 Yuris.
There's 3 Yuris.
There's 3 Yuris? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 Yuris. He's very common name in Soviet Russia. You have boy, you'll name him Yuri. So Yuri Yudin was 21 at the time. He left the expedition on January 28th. He was born with like congenital heart defect, and he had pretty bad arthritis as well.
Okay.
Hiking actually like helped revitalize him.
Okay.
So a lot of people are like, well, why was he hiking in the first place? He's the only motherfucker that survived this entire thing.
Because he leaves early.
Because he leaves early. So I'm just saying. And then so we can actually show
the picture
this
now.
picture now. This is a picture of everyone.
So the first guy, who was he? Did you go in order?
No.
Okay.
Not according to the picture. So Igor Dyatlov is
the main guy
in the middle.
Okay.
For those of you that are just listening, it's what essentially looks like yearbook photos of everyone that I just described.
Yeah. Okay, so Igor Dyatlov is the first guy that's leading everyone. Okay.
He's 22.
Okay, 23 you said.
23.
And then Yuri
Doroshenko.
You said he was the big guy?
Yeah, he was the big guy.
Okay. And then Semyon Zolotarkov?
Yep, Simeon.
Okay.
Down the second to
So like
right
he
on the bottom.
doesn't look like a guy that's covered in tats.
Well, I mean, I think they're mostly under his clothes.
Well, yeah.
And I think covered in tats back in the day was like he had like 6 tattoos.
Okay. Okay.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
And then Yuri Yudin on the bottom right was the one that
Yeah. He looks.
left or
He looks
left.
quite menacing.
Yuri
Yeah.
or Yudin. I mean,
He's the only one that look. Oh, him and Alexander look very menacing.
they do, yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it's just the
really
Russian.
want to run into Yuri Krivalnishenko in a dark alley because I'm afraid that he might beat me up with them ears.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
we're not making light.
it-
These people died, and that's terrible.
Igor kind of. He looks like someone who.
He looks like a little kid to me.
Yeah. He looks the youngest. Actually, Rustem kind of looks young too, but Igor looks the friendliest.
When in actuality, Ludmila was the youngest. She was 20.
Okay.
The only reason that Igor looks friendly is because he's smiling almost. He's got like a smirk to his face when people didn't smile for photos.
No.
Okay.
All right.
So, obviously all of these people were intelligent, especially Yuri Yudin for getting the fuck off the mountain, and capable. They had all worked as hiking guides and had gone on multiple grade 2 hikes, which is a prerequisite, obviously, to get the grade 3.
Yeah.
So like they knew what they were doing. They were all engineering students in one way or another, or like a World War II vet from a regiment that you shouldn't have survived from. Like these people were. I know I keep saying like Harty Russian stock, but that it's true. Like the fuck around and find out with this group was probably very high.
Yeah.
On January 23rd, they had been issued their pre-approved route books, and they headed out the same day. Several days of truck and train travel to get.
So, January 23rd
was their official first day that they
started the hike. Like parked the car and.
No. That's when they started. Yuri Yudin wouldn't leave until the 28th, 5 days after they started the journey.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they started their hike on the 23rd.
No. They started their journey on the 23rd. If you listen, I explained it all. I said trucks and trains and shit. Like they had a ways to go to get to their like hiking start point.
Okay.
Several days of truck and train travel to get to the point in their journey where they'd begin hiking and skiing. You opened your earballs. On January 27th, which is 4 days after they originally set out, they begin their trek toward Gora Otorten, which is up to the mountain.
Yeah.
On January 28th, Yuri Yudin left the group due to knee pain.
Okay.
So there you go. On January 31st, the group arrived at the edge of a highland area and began to prepare for climbing. In a wooded valley, they cached surplus foods and equipment that would be used for the trip back, which is smart. We don't want to carry it up the fucking mountain. We'll just leave that shit here and we'll be back for it in a couple of days. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
The next day, the hikers started to move through the pass. It seems they planned to get over the pass and make camp for the next night on the opposite side, but because of worsening weather conditions, snowstorms, and decreasing visibility, they lost their direction and deviated west toward the top of Kholat Sikal. When they realized their mistake, the group decided to set up camp there on the slope of the mountain rather than move 1.5 kilometers or 0.93 miles downhill to a forested area that would have offered some shelter from the weather. And then there's another map. There's another picture.
All right.
And that kind of explains everything. It's going to be kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
It's just a screenshot of my phone.
There we go.
No, that's not the whole thing. So, So, Sverdlovsk is where they started.
Okay.
So then they make train trucks all the way up Visdal. And then the dot on the top left.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the peak that they were actually hiking to.
Okay.
So if you scroll up some more. So that entire, like, that's Russia, that green spot there.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're looking at a map for those of you that are just listening of exactly where this is, just to try to kind of lay it out a little bit better. And so they were damn near in Siberia. They were in almost the most northern part of Russia that you can be in without being in, frozen tundra and gulag territory.
Yeah.
Okay. So all 9 hikers, all 9 of them, would die between February 1st and 2nd due to a compelling natural force, which is what the Soviet government stated publicly regarding the deaths. They died. I'll get into it.
So the day that they set that camp up was what day?
That was the 31st.
Okay. So after that night, all of them just died.
Yeah. Yep.
And you'll get into it.
I'm going to get into it. Like you got this figured out at this point or something. Let's talk about how the bodies were discovered. Starting with the fact that Dyatlov stated they would telegram back to their sports club, which most people expected would be no later than February 12th for their pre-set-up, pre-discussed plans. But Dyatlov himself told Yuri Yudin, when Yudin departed, that he expected it to take longer because they were about 3 days behind at that point.
Okay.
Well, the telegram never came, so people started to rightfully worry. It was Yuri Yudin had not directly gone back to school. He had actually gone to visit some friends, and it took him about a week to get back to the school.
Okay,
so like the time came and
February's
went.
like 7th.
Yeah, and he was like, he showed up back at school, and he's like, "Where are my friends? Wait, what? No one has heard from them? Oh, fuck balls." By that time, the parents had already been contacting the school, and they were like, find our fucking kids. Where are our kids? What is going on? They should have reported in at this point. What the fuck's happening? Has anyone contacted them? No, obviously, because, well, they were all toast. On February 26th, the tent was discovered. So, over 3 weeks later?
Yeah.
Here's where the weirdness starts. There was only a bit of snow collected on the tent for what this type of tent was and what it could withstand. It wasn't that much snow. But the tent was very badly damaged. Initial reports stated that it appeared there was a large knife cut to the back wall from inside the tent. The vast majority of the group's belongings, specifically most of their clothing, was still in the collapsed tent. And then if you want to show this picture, which is...
And that's...
after they dug the tent out. That's the tent.
Okay.
And then so there are some skis put up around the tent to act as like a snow barrier.
A wall, yeah.
A snow wall. And then in the front, they found an ice axe.
Okay.
Which is a piece that, like, I assume it's like a...
What's that in the back? Do you know?
I'm not sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not really sure what that is. So what we're looking at is a collapsed tent. It's pretty obvious that's what it is, and there are two of
But
these.
not a whole lot of snow.
Not a shitload of snow though. And I mean, they did have to do a little bit of digging, but like you could see the tent without anything. The rescue team quickly realized that they were more than likely searching for bodies at that point. They also discovered 9 sets of footprints leading down the mountain toward the nearest trees in an orderly fashion, in socks or bare feet. And they know that it was an orderly fashion because that was based completely on indentions in the snow.
Yeah.
You can tell if somebody's running. And it was, so they got a direction, and then the snow drift and everything else had blown away.
And there was 9 of them, right?
There were 9 of them, yes. 10 if you count Yuri Yudin, but he already left. The first people they found were Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, 1,500 meters or 0.93 miles northwest of the tent site.
In the trees where they should have just gone in the first place?
In the trees where a lot of people say they should have gone in the first place. The two were huddled around the remnants of a small fire under a cedar tree that had limbs snapped off as high as 5 meters or 16 foot, 5 inches up. 16 feet.
Okay.
Off the ground. So up that high, missing limbs. Both were shoeless and were dressed only in their long johns. Upon autopsy, both had expired due to exposure. Makes sense. It's assumed that the fire they had made only burned for about 2 hours.
Okay.
So they get out of the tent for whatever reason. They walk down the hill, the mountain.
Well, all of them walked.
All of them did. It wasn't a very steep slope. Like
Just a slight, like,
I mean, more than like that. But I don't want you to get the idea that they're they are on the side of a mountain, but it's not like they're on.
Yeah, it's not like
up at the
fucking
peak of Everest or anything like
that.
Yeah. Like it was not.
It's hilly. It's hilly.
Yeah, it's a really big hill.
Yeah.
So they walked from that to the nearest tree, made a fire, and died. After assumedly climbing up this tree for whatever reason. What?
Huh.
Yeah. It's weird, and it gets weirder. The searchers included some local Mansi tribe members, which is like just a local native tribe, who they brought dogs. They discovered Igor Dyatlov 300 meters from the tree heading back toward the tent. His watch had stopped at 5:31. Next, they found Rustem Slobodin 480 meters from the tree. And finally,
back towards the tent.
Back toward the tent. And finally, Zina Kolmogorova 630 meters from the tree.
Back towards the tent as well.
Back toward the tent.
So they passed all of them coming to find the first bodies that they found?
Yes. They were buried under snow.
Okay.
There was like
a lot of fucking snow.
13 feet of snow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking snow. All three had died due to exposure, like the previous bodies, and all three appear to be attempting to get back to the tent. I should point out that Zina was actually found before Rostam. So they found the closest one to the tree, and then the furthest one from the tree, and then the middle. Like that's just the order that they found
that the dogs
in.
found them. Yeah.
Right. And these three did seem to be slightly better dressed than the previous two. They were all wearing jackets and ski pants, but that's about it.
No shoes?
No shoes. They had socks on. And when they had performed the autopsy on Rustam, he had a hairline fracture to the skull. It wasn't the cause of death, but dude would have known he was pretty well fucked up.
And that was the first one that they found?
No, that was
the middle one.
Yeah, because Zina got the furthest. Yeah, that was the one right in the middle between Zina and
he had
Igor.
a fractured skull.
He had a fractured skull. And motherfucker was still trying to get back to the tent.
Okay.
Yeah. It's great seeing Chandler's face from this perspective because he looks perplexed, I love it. Finding the remaining 4 travelers took more than 2 months. So they found 5.
They found the 5.
Yeah.
The 2 in the tree, and then the 3
trying to get back to the tent. So there are 4 missing. They were finally found on May 4th, under 4 meters or 13 feet of snow, in a ravine 75 meters, 246 feet, further into the woods from the pine tree where the original 2 are found.
Wait, how many?
How many feet? 246 feet.
So not far.
Not that far. 3 of the 4 were better dressed than all of the others. And there were signs that some clothing of those who had died first had been removed for use by the others, which
makes
what
sense.
You're going to do in that kind of situation. Dubinina was wearing Krivnoshenko's burned, torn pants, and her left foot and shin were wrapped in a torn jacket. It appears they had built a makeshift shelter in the ravine.
Okay.
So they had dedicated enough energy to say, we're not going back to that fucking tent. We're going to stay down here by this little stream and all this snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coroner had even more interesting findings in 3 of these 4. Ludmila Dubinina died from internal bleeding from a severe chest trauma. Simeon Zolotarov, yeah, sorry, Russian, died from severe chest trauma as well. But the specifics about internal bleeding, they weren't as evident.
So like pneumonia.
No,
Like-
trauma,
like-
like something hit them. It gets crazier. I will point out that Ludmilla had like 3 milliliters of a gooey red substance in her stomach, which led people to speculate that she had swallowed blood, but the coroner never specifies it's blood.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there. Nikolai Thibault Brignoles, the one with the French grandfather, he died of a fatal skull injury. I should say that Ludmila's eyes and tongue were missing. But I think that can be attributed to scavengers because there was a stream right next to where they were.
Oh, so just animals.
Yeah. That's what I believe, because that would have been the soft tissue.
Your tongue?
Yeah.
You think an animal's gonna...
Fuck yes, they are. 1,000,000%. Other than that, though, there were no major external injuries to any of the hikers. There were no, like, there
external
were external. So
like cuts, bruises, nothing.
So the 2 that died of severe chest trauma, there was no bruising externally to indicate something hit them or they fell or anything like that.
I mean, to be fair, it is cold, so even if you were bruised,
so your blood vessels are constricted,
yeah,
which means that you're not going to bruise the same way that you would in normal.
Yeah.
But to have nothing, there were like a few cuts and scrapes on some of the bodies they found, but that's it. One of them had a fucking fractured skull. Two of them had.
One died
skulls.
because of it.
One died because of it, and 2 had.
So like,
chest
so
trauma.
they know for a fact he didn't die due to the weather. He died to the skull injury.
Correct. And then the one that was hiking back.
And were the 3
died due to
people?
weather.
So were the 4 people that stayed down by that creek? Were they all right next to each other?
So they were found like a little bit spread out, but not very much. It looked like 3 of them were like on the shelter, which was literally just some branches that had been placed down and they almost an A-frame, but not even really, because they were out of energy at that point, I imagine. And then Ludmilla had been found really close to where the water would have been running, which is why I say like microbes are probably what ate her eyes and tongue. If she went face down into a stream. Also,
and was her head in the stream?
No, but I think the water receded from the
Okay.
time, because they were covered in snow the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think about all that so far?
It's weird as fuck for so many reasons. A, like, you're in fucking Russia. You're not going to get out of your tent without shoes unless you need to get the fuck out of your tent.
Right.
Like, that's just no one. I don't care who you are. No one's doing that.
You're in Russia in winter.
Yeah.
You're almost in Siberia in winter.
So, like, no one's going to do that. And the fact that none of them are missing toes or fingers shows how quick that they died.
Yeah.
Because your blood would stop rushing after you die.
One of the Yuri's.
But also, if you're walking barefoot in snow, frostbite can take a foot in an hour. Or in 24 hours.
Yuri Doroshenko, he still had snow compacted between his toes when they found him.
Which one was that?
By the tree.
The 2 that were huddled on the tree?
Yeah, the 2 Yuris. By the tree.
And he still had snow in between his toes?
Yep.
Holy fuck.
Okay, I do have a little bit more evidence that gets explained as I explain the main theories around this case, because there are
so many.
There are a bunch of them, ranging from I could see that potentially being the case to
what the fuck?
Come the fuck on.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Yeah.
But
there's always a way.
Well,
like,
yeah, you can always you can connect anything if you're really trying to make that pattern. But there are some that it's like, okay, that's weird. But the rest of these things don't line up with that. But that one thing really, really makes that make a whole lot of sense.
My other question is, why isn't there more pictures? There's one picture of the tent.
There are. I just didn't add all the pictures. Almost all of them had cameras and diaries. There are thousands of pictures.
I'm saying
online.
of like their bodies and shit.
There are.
There are.
There are.
Okay.
I didn't feel like that added anything to the viewers or to the way that we're doing it, because I'm not trying to give you another 3-hour podcast to have to edit.
No, that's fair.
Sorry guys, that's the truth. I'm trying to keep them shorter and sweeter, and that way.
Well, so if you guys do want to like look this up, just look up Dyatlov Pass.
Dyatlov.
Yeah.
Dyatlov Pass.
I'll put that on the screen for you.
Well, it's going to be the title of the episode, so they'll be able to
Yeah, that's true. Just do that.
Yep. All right. So the first one we're going to jump into is aliens.
Okay.
There were reports of bright orbs on the mountainside in the weeks following the disappearance of the group. This was reported by Mansi tribe
Weeks
members.
after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like for the duration of weeks. This was reported by Mansi tribal members. This was reported by other hikers that were almost at the exact same time as them, a couple days later on the other side of the mountain, trying to also get their Master of Games or whatever certification. And I mean, the reports seem pretty credible, but also anytime I hear bright orbs, I'm like, yeah, it's dust, man. It's lens flare. Sorry. I know that's not the case here, but
I mean, anything's possible. I know that. Aliens needs to be a whole episode by itself, but they're out there, so like it wouldn't surprise
Aliens
me.
is gonna have to be like a multi-part episode, because
from personal experiences
I got some of those
to like more.
Yeah. Okay, the next one, which is what that picture is.
Let me pull it up real quick.
No, don't. Yeah, that's fine. So this one actually has a tiny bit of credence to it, because the theory is the Russian Yeti.
Okay.
In Xena's diary, and remember, Xena was the one that was tasked with like keeping the diary super, super on point. She had written in Russian, of course, "We now know snowmen exist," which is what they would have referred to the Yeti
as the Yeti.
And then this picture was also found on one of their cameras.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, no, 100%. This was actually found on one of their cameras. The picture that was just on the screen and is now off the screen is now going to be back on the screen.
Oh.
If you're listening, looks like your average Bigfoot picture. The focus is way off. There's almost center frame. There's a dark creature. It could be a person.
It could be a person.
It could totally be a person wearing like a bunch of different coats and stuff to look more like puffy. Again, very out of focus. Yeah, I don't know. The stance is also kind of not right.
Well, yeah, but if
you're trying to be like, I'm a Bigfoot or I'm a Yeti,
you're gonna
then,
stay.
you're gonna be like, oh,
you're gonna play that part a little bit.
And I mean, that totally could have been the guy that looked imposing in a bunch of different coats. Like, I don't know. It was found on one of their cameras. I think there's more just with that and what the diary said. They could have just been fucking with us. They did have a school newspaper that was like a joke newspaper that was part of their hiking club that they were like a part of.
So
it could have been for
the
that.
Possibilities.
100% could have been. This is actually a really good theory. Oh, what?
I'm utterly confused because like, imagine you and your friends go camping and you're like, oh, let's make a joke, and then you get murdered by said joke,
right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, no one fucking knows.
Well, and it's fucking me up because again, like, you're not leaving that tent unless you absolutely need to leave said tent without your fucking shoes on.
That's where this theory actually gives a lot of credence.
Okay. What you're about to get into?
Yes.
Okay.
So fire inside the tent.
Okay.
There are some very compelling YouTube videos, which I can link if someone wants to ask for them, but I think that I don't think this is true. That point out how this makes the most sense, as the stove was hand built by Igor Dyatlov. But again, engineering student, this dude built radios. A stove's not gonna fucking make his mind melt. And it is a compelling theory. Don't get me wrong. That smoke filled the interior of the tent so fast that the only way to get out, because they couldn't fuck with a zipper, and it wasn't even a zipper. It was like tied shut.
Old tents.
Old style tents.
So they were like, fuck it, let's cut it.
Let's cut our way out. And that's why they were calm, because they were like, fuck, like, but no one had smoke inhalation in their lungs, right? Because they were autopsied. And it's totally possible that they got lost because of the heavy snow, but again, there was no smoke in their lungs. The stove hadn't been set up at this point during the night.
What do you mean at this point during the night?
So throughout the trip, when they stopped for the night, they had set the stove up. They had not done that when the tent was found. The stove was not set up, and it was.
So they put the tent together, immediately went into said tent, and immediately had to leave said tent.
That's what it kind of seems like. I do have a little bit more explanation about it. This stove, they used to have, in their diaries, they talk about having,
English.
Yeah, it's real hard. Like, they would have, like, races to see who could assemble the stove the fastest. Not the word I'm looking for, but it's what is coming to mind.
Competition.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. And the fastest was like an hour and 2 minutes or something.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, yeah, it was complex, but it wasn't
rocket science.
Right, because some of these kids were fucking rocket scientists. So my thought about the fire one is boo boo.
Yeah.
Radiation. This is an interesting point. 3 of the articles of clothing found had double or slightly above double levels of background radiation.
And that were found in the tent?
Yeah. With some people lean on this as a smoking gun. Oh, they were exposed to radiation. You know, that's what killed them. The shirt and pants that were found that had radiation belonged to Alexander Kolevatov. And he had worked in a nuclear facility.
Okay.
And the jacket that was found belonged to Yuri Doroshenko, and he worked in a top secret plutonium production facility.
Okay, yeah, so and that's how that happened.
That's completely, it's like, and it wasn't even, like, it wasn't enough. It wasn't an X-ray. It wasn't, like, it was
And
nothing.
Again, you're not going to be like, oh shit, there's radiation. Fuck your shoes.
Right, yeah.
You're going to be like, I'm already here.
Well,
might
even
as well
that,
fucking...
you're not carrying a Geiger counter of,
right.
Come on. That's,
yeah.
I boo-boo that one as well. Okay, you ready for some fluid dynamics talk?
Sure.
All right, the Kármán vortex street. In fluid dynamics, Kármán vortex street is a repeating pattern of swirling vortices caused by a process known as vortex shedding, which is responsible for the unsteady separation of flow of a fluid around blunt bodies. I summarized.
Yeah.
Basically, it's resonance frequency.
Okay.
That can produce infrasound, which is not perceptible to human hearing, but it can do insane things to your body. Did you follow that?
Yeah.
Okay. So resonant frequency, right? Like you're going down the highway and you've got a wheel that's spinning at just the right speed to where it goes, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a resonance frequency. So there was a study done in the UK, I believe, where they had 700 people attend a classical music concert, and every other song they had laced with infrasound, like just edited into behind the music, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the people reported feeling super uneasy. Nobody passed out, nobody shit themselves or anything like that, but there were people that were like, yeah, I just
felt dizzy, like
the
equilibrium was off.
Yeah, or like you get the feeling of being watched.
Yeah.
Like it does something to your cells, like at that deep a level that you can't hear, but it affects your body. It's been weaponized. It's what they use
Yeah.
on cruise ships
Yep,
to
yep, yep.
keep pirates off. They
Yep.
take a big fucking infrasound speaker and go whoa, and then you see the little dinghy turn around real fast. It is only theoretical that a Kármán vortex streak can occur naturally, but theoretically, if wind is whipping around the peak and you're getting a woo on this side and a woo on this side, and they're both converging right where the tent was, then you have like a binaural beats situation happening. Are you familiar with those at all?
No.
So back when I was like in high school and stuff, it was like, oh man, throw on these binaural beats and like it makes you feel like you just did cocaine. And it's different frequencies at different pitches that makes your brain waves, because they're different.
React
So
to
it
it.
makes your brain waves do different things. I literally never one time ever got anything to make me feel any specific way. But some people were like, I'm so high. I'm like, you're so stupid. But this is the conclusion that Donnie Eicher, author of Dead Mountain, came to. And he's an American author who actually traveled to Russia in 2012 to do as much investigation as possible. And big, huge, massive fucking shout out to this guy, because he had a newborn at the time, and he was like, "This is my chance. I got to do it." He didn't even have a book deal until he came back.
Damn.
So like, massive ups. I can't afford your book because I'm broke as shit, but I did like Spark Notes it. So thanks, buddy. Yeah, no, a lot of this information came from his book. All right, military. Some people believe that the group had stumbled upon a secret Soviet weapons test, which it's not outside the realm of possible at all. But I doubt even the Russians had the tech to cave someone's skull in without leaving an external mark. Plus, there would have been more footprints.
Yeah, that's the part that's fucking me up.
Yeah, it fucks a lot of people up. Okay, I've got 2 more theories that are pretty
like wild, but kind of possible.
Judge for yourself. A slab avalanche is a type of avalanche that occurs when a cohesive layer of snow on top of a weaker layer fails.
You don't even have to read this.
What?
An avalanche didn't kill these guys.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna still read it. Slabs can be hard or soft, thick or thin, and can be made up of multiple layers. They form when snow settles and becomes denser, or when winds add cohesion to snow. But there weren't any records, and haven't been any records, of a slab avalanche happening ever in this area. Although, in 2019, when Russian authorities decided to reopen the case, that's the conclusion they came to.
Was an avalanche?
It was a slab avalanche specifically.
No. Also, like, I would like to point out, so they claim that they found 9 tracks.
9 sets of tracks, yeah. That then disappear.
3 weeks after, in February, in damn near Siberia.
So I think there was a spot where the wind was mostly blocked. Cause I same shit. I was like, that makes no fucking sense. Because the wind, at the very least, is going to get rid of those footprints, right?
Yeah, it's not like you weigh fucking 500 pounds. Your print's only going to go so deep.
Especially if you're just walking.
Yeah, especially without shoes.
Yeah, and you're not wearing all your gear.
Yeah.
So I the way I understand it is they found like 10 to 15 feet of prints, like heading out in a direction. That's what gave them the direction to follow to look.
But that's all they had track wise.
They just had a short amount.
A few to show that they did leave the tent.
Right, but there were 9 sets of those. They were like, okay, this is the direction they headed. It wasn't like they were like, oh,
this leads to there.
Right, they're not pink pampering with like a fucking magnifying glass looking down. That's not how it works.
Okay, so there wasn't. So after that 15 feet of area around the tent, there is no more tracks.
Correct.
Throughout the entirety of everything.
Yeah, they had.
Okay, that makes so much more sense.
Snowed over or blown away.
Okay.
So the native Mansi. A lot of people think that they had something to do with the deaths of these kids. I say kids. One of them was almost my age. Or no, one of them was older than me.
37. Yeah.
That's only a little bit older than me. Although the name of the mountain,
He's 32.
Kolatsikal, translates to dead mountain in the native Mansi language, which tons of people point to as a sign of the mountain being cursed, the Mansi people have stated publicly that this is because there is no game on the mountain. It's dead. Nothing lives there.
Oh.
Dead mountain. They're hunters.
So there's no
reason for them to go to the fucking
Yeah.
mountain, really, because like we're not gonna find anything to hunt there. What the fuck would we do there?
Which time out. That leads straight back into the Yeti.
Potentially, we'll talk about all of it. And they are generally a peaceful people as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm not gonna go hunt there because all of the livestock that lives out in the middle of nowhere, because that is where livestock lives and game lives, is already eaten by the Yeti.
I mean, maybe, but the Mansi don't have a lot of Yeti legends.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's weird.
and they seem like listening to interviews that are then translated to English. They seem lackadaisical as fuck. They're
They're
like
hippies.
kinda to an extent. They're more like Inuits,
Okay.
but they're like, yeah, like we have holy sites, but nobody goes to them anymore because it's way easier to just like pray at your house.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we do most of the time. And like, yeah, we're hunters, but like, we're like respectful of like the things that we kill because that's what you're supposed to do. We don't really fuck with that mountain very much, to be completely honest with you. And one of the ones with the dogs that actually found the 2 by the tree, or found the 3 heading back to the tent, was one of the tribal elders, the Mansi tribal elders.
So
like,
he was helping.
he was helping to find the bodies because they were like,
We need to find these kids, but we don't know where the fuck they are.
we don't know where the fuck they are. So then, like, the theories are crazy, and even the facts are debated.
Yeah, which I mean, that's fucking, look at 9/11. Like everything,
Well,
like
sure, yeah. There are theories that there were more footprints found, but I couldn't substantiate that anywhere. I will say though that there is still one camera and 2 diaries from the hikers that are being held by the Russian authorities.
that have never
To
been
this day,
released.
they've never been released.
Whose diary do we know?
I don't know. I probably could have done process elimination to find it out, but I wasn't trying to do that. Plus, anything that made Russia look bad or weak, especially in the late 50s, would definitely have been controlled to at least a tiny degree. That's probably why the area that the tent was found in was closed until 1962. It was closed for 3 years.
That's weird.
Yeah. So let's cuss and discuss.
Okay. First off, tracks, speaking from like experience,
Oh yeah.
tracks can disappear within fucking 30 minutes in snow.
Faster than that.
Yeah.
If it's whipping
like,
around so much that you've
yeah.
got decreased visibility.
I'm just saying in like normal snow, not blizzards.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Normal snow, your footprint will be gone in 30 minutes. That's not to mention in fucking Siberia.
Almost Siberia, yeah.
Yeah. But like, you
This
know
area
what I
is
mean?
referred to as the gateway to Siberia.
Yeah. So you might have a track for fucking 5 minutes. So like, I don't know. Seems weird.
I don't.
But
I
them
don't disagree with that.
claiming that 3 weeks later you can find 9.
That's
tracks.
footprints.
That's just almost like, I severely fucking doubt
And
that.
there might be some sort of super basic, like there could have been a wind block of some kind that I didn't find in my research.
Maybe. And that's the
they
only
literally just froze there, like the footprints froze there.
and that's the only logical explanation
only
is
thing that I
that
can think
something
of
was
as well.
covering where that 15 feet of
Right.
prints was. But that's not to say that, like, obviously their investigative skills weren't great back then. Took you fucking 3 months to find all of these people that are within
Well,
100 or
everyone found was within a mile.
yeah,
0.93 miles
was the furthest. Or no, that wasn't the
was
furthest.
tree.
That was the tree,
But
but
they were like
weren't there four
four
like
bodies that were
200
like,
feet
yeah,
past
200
that?
feet
Yeah.
past that.
So not even a mile.
Yeah.
So it takes you 2 months to find 9 bodies within a mile.
Whoa.
Like,
that are all in a line.
yeah, like investigative skills or hiding something.
Or there was so much fucking snow that they were like, they could literally be anywhere, because that is the case in
That
that
is,
type
yeah,
of situation.
no, and that's true too.
But that's so, like, this is exactly the crux of this entire thing. Is like, there's one thing that you're like, no, this doesn't make sense. Oh, but wait, that kind of explains this. Okay, but this other thing, no, but that's explained by this.
So like my only thing is if we know for a fact, and again it's negative 15 degrees, so even if you
Fahrenheit.
do have a bruise, it's not gonna show. Like, so who's to say that he didn't fall and hit his head on a
Well,
rock?
but here's the thing, right?
Because your blood's not pumping as fast as it would
That's
whenever
true.
you're hot.
That is,
so
that is 100%
so
true.
your swelling's
blood
not
vessels
gonna go
are
there.
constricted.
you're not gonna swell. You're not gonna. Same thing with frostbite. You don't swell. You shrivel
Right.
because that's what is happening.
Oh, I forgot to talk about paradoxical undressing.
What's that?
So basically, when you're hypothermic, you get to a certain point where your body's like, you're hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
because your brain is so frozen that the signals are being confused, and you're like, damn, it's real toasty in this motherfucker. So you're just stripping clothes off, even though it's,
Negative
negative 15 degrees outside
Yeah.
before a wind chill. So like that is a thing, but that doesn't apply in this situation because all of their clothes were found inside the tent.
Yeah. Also, like
They didn't leave and then go, oh, I'm so cold, and then strip off.
motherfuckers aren't gonna leave a tent without shoes.
It was cut from the inside.
Well, how can they prove that though? Like,
You can tell by looking at the fabric, like where the blade cut through it. If it's inside or outside. That's with anything. I mean, you get a microscope and I can probably tell you the difference between which side of fabric was cut.
okay. Yeah, that's fucking weird. Okay, so and that's in the back of the tent.
That's in the back of the tent.
Okay. Fucking explain to me this. So the front of the tent is where the hole is, and that's the direction that they all ran. So you're gonna cut the back and run around to the front, and then
No. I'm not exactly 100% sure about the orientation of the tent, but the flap that you enter from, we're going to call that the front. It was opposite that where the cut was.
no, correct.
I'm not sure, like,
I would assume that the front is where the trees were and everything.
we don't know that. We don't have any evidence of
But
that.
just from this picture, that proves there's no trees back there.
Yeah, but it was almost a mile away, Chandler.
That's true.
In hilly terrain. Like, you're
That's
not going to
true.
necessarily see that in a picture.
That's true. I don't know. And then the tribal people not hunting on that mountain because there's no game, that's a little sketchy because you're on a fucking mountain.
Especially because I didn't point out that they had written in some of the diaries that they had heard what they thought were caribou.
Yeah. So like
But
that leads to that Yeti because like Yetis eat stuff.
right. And theoretically, if a Yeti's fist is furry, it might not leave a bruise when it breaks your skull.
I doubt that. But I mean, possibility.
We're talking about the Yeti as like a potentiality here. So anything's on the table at that point.
I mean, I'm believing that more so than fucking everything else.
Okay. All right. So we're at the point now where we're going to come out of the badger hole.
Okay, hold on. Before we do that.
Okay.
So, you have all of these people that are in the line.
Yeah.
2 of them are together
Yeah.
and died together.
Yeah.
3 of them were running back to the tent
Probably not running.
or walking.
Yeah. And so I intentionally didn't add all the details because I didn't want this to be a super long podcast. All 3 of the ones that were found heading back toward the direction of the tent, it looked like they were in a defensive position. But originally they thought, oh, they were trying to protect themselves from something. It was the wind. The wind and the snow that was coming at them. They were trying to do that or shield themselves to be able to continue on, and they exhausted themselves.
Okay. And then you have 2, one that has a broken skull but was keeping on,
right?
Keeping on, and then you have one that died due to a fractured skull, and the one that died due to the fractured skull was the biggest guy.
Yeah.
So, like,
so okay, and here's the thing that nobody knows, right? We know in what order the bodies were found, but did everyone go to the tree, and then they made a fire and they climbed up, assumingly to look back toward the tent, because they couldn't see? They were like, shit, which direction did we just come from? Or they're up in the tree to look to see if whatever the threat was that forced them out of the tent in the first place has dispersed, whether that be smoke in the tent or some orb that was hovering around the tent or a fucking Yeti. But if you can see that from a mile away, whatever it is, like if that's what you're looking for,
if you think that you can see it from a mile away,
that's something insane.
That's either orb or Yeti.
What are Yetis? Like 10 feet tall?
They're bigger than Big Feet. Or
Bigfoot's is...
We did this last time. They're bigger than them. So I think Yetis get... Okay. I'm going to Google this really quick because I am interested. Because I'm pretty sure...
How big is a Yeti?
Big do Yetis get? Oh, sick. Nice.
Awesome.
How big do Yetis get? It's going to show me like a cup.
Oh, yeah. What is the biggest Yeti that you can buy?
Yeti, fictional character. Yeti, fictional.
Oh, my God.
Size. Sorry.
It's all still Yeti, the official store.
Okay, we don't know.
So
I'm pretty sure they're bigger than Big Feet's.
Okay,
I could be wrong. But also, it's the middle of the snow, and if that's the Yeti that they saw, it's a black object that you will see.
But if it's a blizzard, you're not going to see.
That's true.
Okay, so what I was saying, though, is did everyone run to the tree, and then they climbed up, and they were like, fuck, like, we don't know, and then disperse from there? Or did everyone go to the ravine and then work their way back? And if so, like, if they didn't all go to the ravine, then they split into two groups from that tree.
Yeah.
What the fuck would make you do that? What would make you go, no, I'm not going back to that tent. I'm going to go down toward this ravine that's got like a 7-foot drop, which could have easily been, because I don't think I mentioned that. There was a bit of a drop into the ravine, like with ditches on either side, essentially, to make, that could have been the reason for the fractured skull and the chest and stuff. But like to die from a 7-foot drop.
It happens.
On your head, sure. But 2 people to die from falling on their chest?
Well, they didn't die because of that, though.
They did.
I thought
Those are the ones with the chest.
I thought they died due to the weather.
No.
They died because of their chest?
They died because of blunt force trauma.
So 3 out of the 4 people that were in the ravine died to an injury, not due to weather.
Yes.
Okay. Didn't know that. Yeah, I thought they died due to weather.
No.
Okay. So what I'm thinking happened. Like logically.
Out of the badger hole, official.
Logically, what I think happens. Don't know why the fuck they left the tent. Like that part, I have genuinely no idea. The only thing I can think of that would make me personally leave a tent and 13 feet of snow without my fucking boots is aliens or Bigfoot. Like, logically.
For sure.
So
something that scares the fuck out
something
of you,
that you feel is threatening your life,
but not in a sense enough to run from it.
See, that part I don't think is true. I don't.
You think that's misinformation by the Russian authorities?
Yeah.
Okay, possible. Totally possible.
You're not gonna cut the fucking back of your tent and casually walk out of it. That you're just not gonna. So
we gotta get out of here. All right, let's walk, guys.
All right.
This is great. This
is
a nice little. I'm glad.
I guarantee reactions would be, okay. A, I don't have shoes on, so I'm gonna fucking high knee this shit because it hurts.
Right.
A, or B, like you're gonna cut it and you're gonna be so concerned for whatever's making you exit this tent that you're not even gonna care about your feet.
Okay, but what about if a naturally occurring Kármán vortex street had happened and it made, let's say, one of the Yuris freak out, and he thought that he felt the rumblings of an avalanche. We have to get out of here. Let's go. They still would have run.
They would have ran, yeah.
Like, none of it makes any fucking sense. That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, that has to be misinformation. If you're in so much of a hurry that you're gonna cut the tent and not untie the slab, you're gonna fucking run.
Yeah. Okay, so
okay,
so you're at the badger hole.
Yeah,
most likely 3. Let's go with that.
Most likely 3.
Yeah,
what?
you're like you're third most likely, second most likely, and then first most likely. Because we've got options for this one.
So my first most likely is, again, either a Yeti or aliens or something.
Some supernatural phenomenon.
Some supernatural shit that literally scared them and made them feel like they were going to die. And then they all ran to probably the tree. I'm going to go ahead and say the tree. And then they were like, all right, we have to come up with a game plan. So they send one of the Yuris up the tree. Or not one of the Yuris. The one that fractured his skull but didn't die. Yep. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. So they send that one. So they find that. They send that guy up the tree, right?
Yeah.
And he falls.
Oh, that was Rustam. That was the rich kid.
Okay. So he falls, like slips, doesn't have shoes on, fucking steps on a stick, ow. Something. But also, that's not possible either because he didn't have cuts or bruises or...
And that is...
But also, he had clothes, he just didn't have shoes.
Right.
Which,
but like they weren't wearing like all of their clothes. Like they were not wearing what they should have been.
Okay, so I'm gonna stick to this. So they send him up. He slips. He falls. He hits his head on a branch. Then once he gets back down. He's like, oh fuck! Like I need
to get back to the medical supplies ASAP.
I need my clothes. Like I'm gonna die out here if we don't make it back to the tent. So the 2 other people go with him.
So Xena, Rustam, and Igor Dyatlov.
Yep. All died
that way.
Going back to the tent.
Right. So first Igor falls, and Xena and Rustam are like, we have to go on without him. It's what he would want.
Yep.
And so they do. And then like 100 meters later, like Xena's down. And that's like a football field. That
can happen.
Admirable amount.
So and then the last guy
actually Rustam goes
was
down.
in the middle.
Was in the middle. So Rustam goes down, and Xena's like, "Fuck!
I'm already close. Might as well.
I have to get back to tent, otherwise I am going to die. Everyone else is going to die. This is not a good situation for little Xena to be in."
And then after a little bit, they're all sitting under the tree, and they're like, "We have to figure something else out. Like they're not coming back."
Oh, so you think that the 2 Yuris stayed by the tree? They're like, we're going to start a signal fire.
Yep.
That way, when the other 3 come this way, they know what direction we're in. And the other 4 were like, well, we're going to start getting a
trying to find some shelter or something. So then they fall back down to the creek, and in some sort of time frame, they realize like, okay, the people that went back to the tent, they're dead.
Right.
Those guys are trying to find something for us because we have nothing, and you and I are going to die right here in this tree. And then the others die down by the creek. Logically speaking, like, so many possibilities. I don't know, man. It's so hard because, like, if you die to something breaking your chest...
Yeah, that's a shitty way to go.
Well, that's hard to do. I've been stepped on by bulls.
That's true. You've had broken ribs. I've had broken ribs.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's debilitating. Like,
for sure.
Even if adrenaline is flowing through you, you're still
not enough. But not enough to be like, oh, well, I'm dying.
True. Yeah. Facts.
So like something stepped on them, or
it was something with that much force that didn't leave a mark. So I know that we're
So
saying
so that's so the only thing possible that wouldn't really leave a mark, it's not a blunt force instantly. It's something like you getting squeezed to death. That wouldn't leave a mark because that would just break your bones.
I don't know that that's true.
Or stepped on or something, but it's not like a fucking stomp. It's like a
Right, but,
I'm gonna apply pressure
what
slowly.
could do that? Even your own force falling down in
Wouldn't
a
do
ravine
that,
7
no.
feet wouldn't do that.
A Yeti stepping
Right,
on
but
your
you've been
chest.
stepped on by a bull,
Yeah.
and that same thing didn't happen.
No, but also I wore a vest.
That's true. You were padded. Yeah, I don't.
And a human foot is a lot bigger than a bull hoof.
That's true. That is true.
And
Okay, so what? We just gotta wrap this up. So you're saying Yeti or alien or something came to the tent. They all lost their shit, cut their way out, went to the tree, realized we are in a very fucked up situation. Split the party, which if you ever play D&D, you know never split the party. And these guys were like avid hikers and like mountaineers and shit. They split the party.
See, even
the
with
three
that,
that went toward the tent fucking died. The 2 that stayed by the tree fucking died. And the 4 that went to the ravine to build the temporary shelter fucking died.
it's so hard because like no, but yes, you know.
Right.
Not only that, but like even if you do hear Bigfoot outside, safest bet is going to be in that motherfucking tent with all 9 of us. Like I'm not going to run my ass down that mountain.
So my thing.
Yeah, let's hear yours.
So before I jump out of the badger hole, Simeon was a 37-year-old World War II combat seasoned vet. You really think that he didn't have a gun on him? They never found one. But if I'm...
He had a gun on him, yeah.
But it's never in the reports that they found
And
anything.
that's plausible.
Or that they found one in the tent or anything.
That's weird, but
it is weird.
But it's plausible.
But there's like so many more, like everything about it is fucking weird. Okay, so actually, it's funny that that's your out of the badger hole because mine is basically the same thing, and I've given this a lot more thought than you have because I've been working on this for a week, and I've known the majority of this story for close to a decade at this point. So I think that something otherworldly, like a beam of light came out of the sky, focused on the tent.
And so they were like, oh, fuck.
And they were like, what is that? And maybe at first they thought, he's a helicopter? No, I don't. No, Yuri, I don't hear anything. Oh, yeah, that's weird. And then, like, they're trying to get a better idea of whatever it is. Again, beam from the sky, maybe Yeti, I don't know. But something happens that scares them, just like you said, to the point where they're like, we have to get the fuck out of this tent. They slash the tent. But again, they don't run.
No,
So
that
you think that's bullshit?
Yeah, has to be.
There are pictures of the footprints, dude.
How, man?
They're not in my slideshow, but
Footprint.
Dyatlov Pass.
What?
Dyatlov, Dyatlov. Yes. So I think that's what happened. But whatever it was had some sort of calming effect after the initial shock that scared the fuck out of them. They were like tranquil for some reason. And then they wondered the way that would have been back on course for them.
So where are said foot, like,
I don't know, dude. There were literally like 1,000 pictures taken from their cameras. Okay.
Okay.
So
Can't find them. I'll do it on my own time.
So they got scared. They calmed down. They collected themselves outside the tent, which is crazy. They walked the direction that would have put them back on course. So
So you think they all went to the creek?
I think they all went to the tree, just like you do.
Okay.
And then from there, for whatever reason, they did split. I think that maybe once they had hit the tree, I think the 2 Yuris were in such bad shape that everyone was like, we need to help them however we can, and that's why they split the party.
See, I don't think that. I think that the 2 Yuris were fine in the sense of like, I mean, none of them were fine, obviously.
They were the ones found without shoes.
The rest of them had socks.
Had at least socks on.
I mean, yeah, that would suck. I mean, your feet are gonna like.
And think about it. This is like this whole group, even Simeon, who had just joined the group, like, you put your lives into each other's hands when you undertake something like this.
Do you know? So were they?
Muffin Man.
Did they all, or did both the Yuris that were found without socks? Did they have all of their toes?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, that means that they died fast as fuck.
Fast as fuck.
Because your body preserves whenever you die.
That's what I'm saying, is that they were in such bad shape that everyone else was like, we have to do something, anything. Otherwise, they're going to die and we're all going to die.
Okay.
I think that so same as you. I think that that's number one. Carmen Vortex Street is number 2 because your brainwaves can
Okay, but number 1, how do you... Well, I explained how the first guy might have shattered his skull.
Oh,
how do you think, like...
I honestly don't have any explanation for that, because even falling into the ravine wouldn't have done that.
No.
Because falling under your own weight isn't going to crush your
literally
chest so much that you die.
The only thing that can do that without leaving a mark is genuinely a light pressure that gains over time. Same thing with like a nice handshake.
Oh God!
Like you can break someone's hand just by doing that.
Yeah,
where it's not gonna.
You've got crazy Skeletor strength.
Where it's not gonna, like, after a few days you might swell, but there's not gonna be any exterior damage. And also if it's negative 15 degrees, your hand's not gonna swell at all.
That is a very valid point you make. The long and short of this story is no one really knows what happened. I say that the Russian government might know what happened. I don't think it was military.
No.
I don't think that they uncovered some sort of weird training or exercise or anything like that.
You still have a camera, or 2 cameras.
A camera and 2 diaries.
A camera and 2 diaries that have not been released to public.
Yeah.
You shut down the entire mountain
for 3 years.
For 3 years. And then you claim that you have pictures of...
It was Slab Avalanche. Yep,
yeah.
That is how they did it. And they did that in 2019, dude. That's only 5 years ago.
Which means in their head it's still surface. So they're like...
Because this is like the JFK assassination for Russia. This is like the biggest what the fuck in like the history of the whole country. When Donnie Eicher, the author of the book, when he went to Russia and he actually spoke to Yuri Yudin right before he died of old age.
Yuri
did. Yeah, the one that left because of his rheumatism.
He got to speak to Yuri.
He got to speak to him. And there was apparently he asked him, he was like, what, don't you have mysteries in America? Like why are you so interested in this? Worry about your own shit. But it's a big deal to them. But obviously it's a big deal to fucking everyone because it doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't.
Every way you try to shoehorn something to make it make sense, it makes it somehow make less sense than something before.
Because in my head, that picture of the Yeti, that sold everything, that's accurate. But then you're like, okay, but you do have a prankster, someone that likes to play jokes. You also, like, that's not a clear photo, whereas the photo that you have of
everything else is super clear. It's
a fucking Rustem and the jacket.
They know how to take photographs.
A photo.
And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of blurry photos in like what have been released of the shit.
Well, and that's just how it happens.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
pictures don't come out every time.
Fucking cold, and you've got a camera that weighs 20 pounds. You're like, click. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's get back into shelter now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
This fucked my head a little bit.
Whoa, good.
It's just like, there's so many explanations that it could be, but logically speaking,
but
the only
none of
people
them fit it 100%.
but the only people that do know is the Soviet.
Authorities?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, the Soviet Union's not really a thing anymore, so
Well, and it proves that you're shutting down this mountain for 3 years. Like you're not gonna
not the whole mountain, not the
Just
whole
this
mountain,
side.
just the site where the tent was found.
Yeah.
I don't know the radius around that or anything.
I assume where it was found in
Probably
like
all the way around to the bodies. Yeah, I would also assume that, but
Like,
I don't
so
know.
so you're gonna do that. You're not gonna release things even to their parents.
Yeah,
Like something was found
that made
that
the Soviet
showed
Union.
them like this is what happened.
I see. I don't know if there's anything in there that shows what happened because okay, let's say like the camera for example. We got a picture of a supposed Yeti.
Yeah.
That was on a camera that was released. So what the fuck could be on?
So it'd have to be way worse than a Yeti for them to
Right.
be like.
And there is a picture that a lot of people say it looks like one of the glowing orbs that other hikers reported, but to me it looked like
Dust.
bullshit. It literally looked like dust and lens flare. And
Like-
I
like-
did
like
no
that.
like way more like hurried shot. But again, most of these people they were young. They were taking like this was their escape from college.
Well, see, so that what you just said fucked me up way worse. Because yeah, it's like they allowed this picture of the Yeti to be released.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if they're hiding something, like, which they have to be, or else you wouldn't still have the 2 diaries in camera.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have shut down this fucking hillside.
Yeah.
Like, you don't
And
just
then
do
you
that.
wouldn't have reopened the investigation fucking
70 years later.
no.
50 to 20.
60.
50 to 20 is 70.
2019. 59 to 2019.
69 years.
It's 60 years, dude.
59?
1959.
Oh, 59.
So
59.
2019 is
Thought it was
50
50.
years. Yeah, you wouldn't have reopened it and then said, yes, this thing that has never happened there before or since that has ever been recorded that is what happened there, yes.
Yeah, that fucks me up. I have not a clue.
So, well, we're gonna wrap it there because we obviously don't know the answer because, well, no one knows the answer. If you think you know what happened,
And not even if you think you know what happened, just possible explanations to any of it because none of it fucking makes sense.
yeah,
Like if you could explain why they ran out of their tent, how they died, logically, even with blunt force trauma, I don't think that you would swell or mark in that extreme weather.
right.
So like you could have been hit with something.
I will say again that actual hard facts on this topic are hard to come by because some like Wikipedia was saying that there were 11 members of the group because they were counting Yuri twice, I think. That's fucking Wikipedia. Granted, anyone can edit it, but it's
Yeah.
like pull your shit together because I originally I just put that into my notes at one point. I'm like, that's not right. There's fucking 10 of them, and then Yuri Yudin left, and it was 9 of them because there were 9 bodies found. So like, even trusted sources, however much you trust Wikipedia, like have shit about this completely wrong. The book Dead Mountain is the most definitive work that I was able to find on it. There are YouTubers out there that I'm not going to name that claim to have gotten hold of the actual autopsy reports and hired Russian translators and all sorts of stuff. And I believe they may have done that, but then they say stuff like fire. And like, while that does kind of explain it, because if you get out of smoke, you're like, okay, we're safe now. We can kind of collect ourselves, but you're not going to walk a fucking mile away to wait for the smoke to clear out.
You're gonna walk straight outside and lay down and be like,
I can breathe again.
like
We're good.
yeah.
Also, there would be like burns all over the tent. Like there's no, and there would be smoke in their fucking lungs. That's the big one. And the coroner,
If it's enough for you to like have to exit a tent, yeah, I don't know.
yeah, no, there still would have been. And the coroner may have just missed that, but like the stove wasn't even hooked up when they found the tent.
Well, and it doesn't explain the blunt force traumas
We could talk all night in circles because that's how this topic goes.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, inputs, we'd love to hear them. Throw it in the comment box below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, you can email us at badgerholepodcast@gmail.com.
And if you, vice versa, if you watch us on YouTube,
yeah, you can still email us.
Please go look at our Spotify. Like while you're driving, just give us a listen.
We're trying to get the Spotify updated a little bit.
And if you see this on Spotify, come over, leave a comment on YouTube.
Come see what our faces look like, and then go, wow.
Leave a subscribe. Hit that big button.
Hit that bell.
Right
There's
there.
There's a bell right there.
Yeah, hit that. And
we're on TikTok. Check us out on TikTok. We're on
all the things. But yeah, no.
Things.
If
that's it
if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. And that's about it.
That's it.
Sweet.